Hey guys, first off, let me just say, somebody gave me a soda at lunch the other day. I didn't even finish it. When I looked at the ingredients label, I saw some things I'd never recognized before. I was aware that the nutrition label had been updated. The health has shifted to the sugar attack, which they're right. Sugar is definitely one of the worst things for you, and it's the leading cause of so many health problems. However, they are masking other things that are just as bad. So I'm just going to run down the ingredients label real quick, just spend a minute or two on each ingredient. But before I do, I just want to take a minute to clarify a couple things. Going back to Kobe Bryant, some people really got things twisted around as to why I made that video. So there was some misunderstanding. Some people sound like they got their feelings hurt. Our credibility is one of the most important things that we have right now. And since I'm new, I just wanted to explain some stuff, okay? When I made that article, it was at the beginning, and all I had seen was a couple headlines. So when these things happen, every one of you should know it's all complete bullshit. I used the word auto-hoaxing for myself. It just sums up critical thinking process. If you haven't reached a point by now where you don't have to question everything because you already know it, you will. So I don't need to know the details of why. I don't need convincing because I already know. And some of the stuff like celebrity entertainers, professional athletes are not worth the energy it takes to put into a thorough investigation for me. A lot of research, a lot of time, and a lot of energy goes into doing a good report. If I spent all my time debunking TMZ celebrities, I wouldn't get nothing else done. It's just not interesting to me. I'm glad people out there do that kind of exposure. I'm not one of them. True, I did miss a good opportunity as a new video maker to get some subscribers. That still didn't matter to me. I'm working on other original things right now. Kobe Bryant, or anybody like that for that matter, is just not important to me. So when I found that article, it was about a lawsuit against the pharmaceutical companies, which a lot of times that's a big connection. So I just shared. I never said that was what I believed. And in fact, if you actually watch the video, I said a couple times, you guys do whatever you want with this information. I don't give a shit. I still stand by that. If somebody wants to say, oh, you're a moron.
What a maroon. What an ignoramus.
You're a shill. It was the helicopter. She did a good video on the helicopters. It's the only one I watched. And I only watched it because she left a negative remark on my video.
What? Good.
I don't even think she watched my video. She might have listened to 2 sentences and then got mad because I said auto-hoaxer as if I was being accusatory, and then didn't watch the end of it and then just said I was a shill moron.
What an imbecile. What an ultra maroon.
But that is absolutely not true. I work hard at doing what I do just the same as we all do. And like I said, if you haven't reached a point yet where you automatically know and you don't need proof, you still have a little ways to come. Everybody moves at different paces, but eventually you will end up there. If somebody doesn't believe the same things that you do, does not make them a moron.
What a dope. What a maroon.
Well, I mean, sometimes it does. Like, I feel that way. If you still believe an airplane ran into the World Trade Center, I think you're either a moron or you just haven't looked yet.
The plane should be visible for over 5 seconds. The airplane image enters the picture within one video frame. The nose of the airplane appears to pop out the backside of the tower.
If you had a regular airplane fly into a building, it would crumple. It wouldn't go through the building and come out the other side as one of the computer-generated images did.
There it is. There it is. The plane went right through.
The plane coming out the other side of Tower 2.
Completely in one side and out the other.
At a news conference here in the city that a hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
Can you believe what you have been seeing on CNN today, ladies and gentlemen? Can you believe it?
And that's why we need people out there to do these entry-level videos like celebrity death hoaxes. We have to communicate better with each other.
Is that your idea of communicating something to me, is it? Well, is it?
If you don't agree with somebody, compare notes. I have saved all the bibliography I use for all my reports and all my videos, and I love sharing. I love being challenged because it either affirms my position or I learn something. So go ahead. If you want to dispute anything that I share, then please do it. But don't just leave me a comment like, oh, this is bullshit, so that I can go over it because I'm going to listen and I'm going to pay attention. That's how you learn.
You just don't want to learn anything. You just don't want to listen to anybody. He's got intelligence.
Okay, so now that I got that little couple-minute rant out of the way. Citric acid, which you see on everything. Citric acid is all over the place. Predominantly used as a flavoring and preserving agent. Food and beverages use 70% of all manufactured citric acid, but also the pharmaceutical industries, even cleaning agents use this stuff. So anything that is also a cleaning agent that you're putting into your body is going to be promoting a healthy lifestyle. So it's commercially sold as a general disinfectant and a cleaning agent for removing soap scum, hard water stains, lime, and rust. But it's safer than bleach. Manufactured citric acid is generally recognized as safe by the FDA. Generally recognized as safe is a term that comes up a lot when you're really looking at the ingredients, and we'll get into exactly what that means in just a couple minutes. But to finish up the citric acid, it says no scientific studies exist investigating the safety of manufactured citric acid when consumed in large amounts for long periods. There have been reports of sickness and allergic reactions. One report found joint pain with swelling and stiffness, muscular and stomach pain, shortness of breath. These symptoms were not observed in people consuming the natural forms of acid, such as limes and lemons. So that's a study right there. The manufactured kind, but the natural kind is not making them sick. Then that should be a good indication right there. The second ingredient is called potassium benzoate. Potassium benzoate is a preservative that is used to keep beverages fresh and safe. Now, I don't know exactly what they mean by safe. Is that supposed to be a joke? When exposed to heat and light, some products that contain both potassium benzoate and vitamin C may produce benzene. This is a concern because benzene is a known carcinogen. It causes cancer in humans. But they put it in there because it makes the drink safe. Safe for who? It mentions in passing something about the trace amounts of metal from the cans and the reaction that it has. It concludes that the formation of benzene is definitely possible, although in very tiny amounts. However, any amount is too much and it's bioaccumulative, which means that it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but once it's in your body, it stays there and it just keeps on getting bigger. Also, about all these things that are bioaccumulative, they're not filtered or processed out of the general water supply. A lot of these chemicals are just found in tap water because they don't go anywhere. Once they're in the system, like DDT, then they stay there forever. Moving right along, the next ingredient is called pectin. Is used in food as a gelling agent, particularly in jams and jellies. Though it's considered safe by the FDA, some are convinced it has potentially dangerous health effects. And the FDA does have it labeled as generally recognized as safe, but the side effects include bloating, diarrhea, decrease in appetite, and mineral depletion. Newborns, children, and pregnant women are seen to be especially sensitive to pectin. Let's take a minute to briefly go over what it means when it says generally recognized as safe. The fact that it says generally should be a precursor that they're trying to trick you with their word spells. Generally recognized as safe is a way that the FDA tricks people into thinking that the ingredients aren't harmful. However, the manufacturers determine whether it's recognized as safe without telling the government, and they don't do any independent research. The FDA works with the food industries, and that's an entirely video all by itself. Congress realized that it's really quite bad for consumers if the new ingredients in their food are toxic. So the FDA found a way to mandate pre-market safety testing and keep harmful chemicals, including carcinogens, out of food. However, the FDA does not even do a little bit of research, and it just solely goes off the information that the companies provide. And they don't do any kind of evaluation. And then in the 90s, they changed the rules. The companies don't need to provide any kind of information. They eliminated the affirmation process. Now they just have to send a post-it note along with the ingredient and say, yeah, well, we did some research and we found that this stuff is safe. And the FDA will say, well, okay, as long as you did the research. But it's not mandatory. Watchdog groups argue that generally recognized as safe process violates the actual 1958 law that established the standard to begin with.
That is one big pile of shit.
You know how it works when it comes over with our health concerns, business. It's not necessarily the money, and I always stress this. It's not about money, profit, as much as it is the slow poisoning and sickening Americans, and not just America. It's a worldwide epidemic. Here's a graph right here. The gray are the requests for approval. The orange are just the non-requests. They just tell the FDA, we looked it up and this stuff is safe, but it's not safe. The next big one on the list, aspartame has a history, which we're just going to revisit it right now. Its brand names are NutraSweet, Equal, Spoonful, and Equal Measure. It's the artificial sweetener. No artificial sweeteners are good.
Give me some sugar, baby.
They call them all high-intensity sweeteners, 800 times sweeter than sugar. It was invented by accident by G.D. Searle. It was originally approved for dry goods in '74, but objections were filed, as well as investigation of G.D. Searle's research practices, caused the FDA to put approval of aspartame on hold. And then, of course, with a background like that, Monsanto had to come in and purchase G.D. Searle. Aspartame accounts for over 75% of the adverse reactions. A few of the 90 different documented symptoms listed in the report are part of the aspartame dangers are headaches, muscle spasms, irritability, heart palpitations, tinnitus, weight gain, memory loss, slurred speech, insomnia, anxiety attacks. The new sodas have removed high fructose corn syrup. Make you think, oh yeah, that's so good because that stuff's bad, but they're still deceiving you. They're still poisoning you, just under a different name right now. Anything that's made by Monsanto is just going to be the best thing in the world for your health. Aspartame, so it has reverse effects, like it can make you hungry and make you lose your appetite at the same time. So it just confuses your body. Made from bacteria poop, and those bacteria are genetically modified. That's your GMO connection right there.
And what are they, Martin?
Virus turns to formaldehyde in your digestive tract. FDA scientists have lost their jobs, thrown their careers away because they just couldn't stomach the lies anymore. One that I almost overlooked is natural flavor. What in this chemical cocktail could possibly be natural? And it turns out there's nothing natural about additives that they put in Mountain Dew. They actually have no flavor of their own. What it does is it's a chemical that blocks your mind from reading other. You want this one that gets really sick. The company that they have contracts with, fetal cells in your junk food, well, it's true. The largest difference is that natural flavors come from a natural source. The original ingredient is found in nature and then purified and extracted and added back into the food. Artificial flavors, on the other hand, are usually entirely man-made, can contain anywhere from 50 to 100 ingredients. Wait till you get into what ingredients these things are. This is the nutritional label deception, casting black magic spells over people who have no clue what they're really putting into their bodies. Ultimately, the difference between natural and artificial flavors often comes down to minuscule distinction. Most often, as far as I could find, actual chemicals themselves could be identical or extremely close in terms. So there you have it, right in your own words. Creates confusion, and it's misleading and a general lack of transparency. The goal is to make a short, intense flavor that quickly dissipates so you come back for more. One concern we have is the ability to make things more appealing than they may necessarily be. You can make foods that aren't as healthy more appealing or even taste as if they're extremely fresh. Yeah, that would be a concern, alright, to make things more appealing than they necessarily are, especially when they're using human stem cells from electively aborted fetuses. Holy shit. And formaldehyde and cyanide. HEK293. It's made by Cinemex. They signed a 4-year deal for $30 million in 2010 with Pepsi. Pepsi, of course, bottles Mountain Dew. These receptors are made from the HEK293, stands for human embryonic kidney cells. These cells, which were cloned, originally came from healthy, electively aborted human embryos. They have 113 patents. Since they are not actually ingredients, but rather enhancers, they are not required to be listed in the package's ingredients except as artificial flavors. And because very small amounts of additives are used, Cinemex's chemicals have not undergone the FDA's usual safety approval process. But the FDA's safety approval process is nothing more than the company's own research. There is no oversight at all. It made it all the way to Obama's desk. And on February 28th of 2012, Obama's Security and Exchange Commission ruled that Pepsi's use of aborted fetal cell remains in their research and development agreement falls under ordinary business operations. Pepsi pleaded with the Security and Exchange Commission to reject the shareholders' resolution filed in October that a company adopt a corporate policy that recognizes human rights and employs ethical standards which do not involve using the remains of aborted human beings in both private and collaborative research and development agreements. So all the shareholders got together and wrote Obama's administration and was like, no man, we don't want aborted baby fetus cells in our food. And then Pepsi went to the Obama administration and was like, man, we're going to use aborted fetus cells. And Obama sided with Pepsi.
20,000 tweets containing the words Obama and Satan.
It's a Luciferian agenda. It's cannibalism. You know, everybody at that level, they're all harvesting adrenochrome, and they think it's great. They like to just kick back and be like, oh yeah, well they want to hate on us, but they're drinking baby cells and they don't even know it. But this is not about the profit. This is way above corporatocracy. So then the shareholders, once Obama administration shot them down, they just went on a global boycott. Eventually, Pepsi said, okay, we promise we're going to stop research, we're going to stop funding this HEK 293. But almost just as creepy is people leading the campaign for boycotting them for using aborted fetal cells. It's not the fact that they're using human cells, it's the fact that they're aborted electively. They could have easily chosen animal, insect, or other morally obtained human cells. So even the guys that claim to be on our side still think it's acceptable to use human cells. And they're not denying that this is happening. This is not some conspiracy theory. So they had a 4-year contract signed in 2010, and they promised to stop using their HEK 293. But as we've seen so many times in the past, they signed another 3-year deal in 2016. So this time, they're supposed to just be using the artificial sweeteners. They're not supposed to be using aborted fetus cells anymore. But they probably are. They probably just changed the name on it like they do so many other times. And it's business as usual. Now the FDA touts their new nutrition labels and they think, oh, that's great. Now we really know what we're putting in our body. The next ingredient on the list is called potassium citrate. Some of its side effects listed here on WebMD: nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach pain. It's actually in a medication with serious side effects. bleeding, blockage, bloody stool, constipation. So obviously that is not going to happen in everybody that drinks a can of soda. But this is bioaccumulative, and some people are more sensitive to the other. And if there is any danger, there must be information. You have to have informed consent about everything that poses any kind of threat. Vaccines to just a can of soda pop. They're lying through omission, but they're lying. They are blatantly lying to your face too when they say, oh, this is completely safe. The FDA deemed it generally recognized as safe in 1977, which just means the manufacturers told the FDA that it was safe. The FDA never even checked. The manufacturers, in this case, there literally were hundreds of them, and they were all from India and China. Is a prescription medication that reduces the acidity of urine to prevent kidney stones. It's also used as an additive in soda to reduce and balance the tart flavor. This doesn't even belong in our drinks. It's a prescription medication that a bunch of people from different countries told the FDA that it was safe. Gum arabic, the invisible ingredient in your soft drink supply. And who cares about the health benefits of this stuff? When you find out that Coca-Cola falsified its sustainability report, I just can't take it anymore. This stuff is grown mainly in Sudan, and Sudan used it politically. When the U.S. put sanctions on them, they're like, well, we're going to cut off your gum supply, and that'll disrupt the whole food chain. And of course, this is a corporatocracy. They're not going to let that happen. They're going to fund the terrorism via Coca-Cola. I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm not even going to try because then I'll just look like a jackass. But I'm not the only one, because it's just called Ace K, and it's another artificial sweetener considered generally recognized as safe by the FDA, although it has some potentially dangerous health effects. No way, not from an artificial sweetener. Are you kidding me?
Give me some sugar, baby.
And all of these artificial sweeteners, they synergize off each other. So these possible side effects that are bioaccumulative, certain people have different sensitivities to it, lead to higher chances of breast tumors, headaches, liver complications, confusion. One of the ingredients to make this stuff is used as a paint stripper, a degreaser, and that ingredient alone can lead to headaches, depression, nausea, diarrhea, confusion, kidneys, but yet is still generally recognized as safe by the FDA. Another artificial sweetener, sucralose, 600 times sweeter than table sugar, also known as Splenda.
Give me some sugar, baby.
The FDA said that sucralose does not pose any carcinogenic, reproductive, or neurological risk to humans. But of course the FDA is going to say that. So what they do is they take sugar and modify it with chlorine. Chlorine is added to many products and does not necessarily make the product dangerous. Yeah, that's just great. I drink a glass of chlorine in the morning and I'm ready to go. The side effects of the sucralose include rashes, panic, dizziness, diarrhea, swelling, headaches. So they're all the same side effects, really. Every once in a while, one might have something more or something less, but you get the idea. Another one on the list, sodium citrate, makes the urine less acidic, but I don't think that's why they put it in your drinks. They don't care if your urine is acidic. This is listed in the medications also. Several of these are listed in both food and beverage ingredients, additives, and also in medications. So it's got some pretty heavy side effects, and they're all the same: nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, diarrhea. But one thing that's interesting about this is that it interacts, the synergy effect. Well, this synergizes with lithium antacids like Alka-Seltzer, Maalox, aspirins, ADHD medications. This one is calcium disodium, EDTA. In addition to short-term side effects, the chemical may build up and bioaccumulates, causing significant toxicity. It has short-term and long-term. It is a chemical salt that was initially developed in Germany to bind metals and extract them out of water. It's an anti-spoiling agent, increasing the shelf life. Although it is generally recognized as safe by the FDA, it is linked to several health concerns. EDTA is a chemical created from the combination of formaldehyde, cyanide, ethylene.
Bitch, are you for real?
EDTA is created from the combination of formaldehyde, cyanide, and ethylene diamine, and is added to many sodas, processed foods. There is limited data about the true. So listen to this. Some scientists suspect that it is a persistent organic pollutant, POP. In that case, each intake would only be partially excreted while the rest bioaccumulates in the body. Thus, long-term exposure to calcium disodium EDTA would potentially create toxicity in the body and also in the environment. Environmentalists have similar concerns regarding the elimination portion of the POP and its inability to be broken down. So it's in like your rivers and probably in your fish. There are several possible adverse effects: the depletion of vitamins and minerals, hypertension, headaches, migraines, abdominal discomfort, lowering blood sugar. The long-term risks are toxicity and kidney damage, and just the buildup of toxicity. The ingredients of this stuff: formaldehyde, cyanide, and ethylene. Are you fucking kidding me? Let's pause real quick to look at this persistent organic pollutant, because this is another example of word spells being cast over us. Persistent organic pollution, that's POP. That's pop. That's another word for soda. Soda pop. Sometimes known as forever chemicals. POPs bioaccumulate with potential adverse impacts on human health and the environment. Many POPs currently or were in the past used as pesticides, solvents, pharmaceuticals, and industrial chemicals. So that's almost every single ingredient in soda either has another use as a pharmaceutical or an industrial solvent. You know why soda is called pop now.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Any middle school aged boy is going to tell you about yellow number 5 because it shrinks. With so many risks, yellow 5 is best avoided. Many serious health complications, including increased risk for cancer and worsened asthma in children. Children are a lot more sensitive. It provides no health benefits. They call it yellow number 5, but it's tartrazine. There is no link between penis size.
It's not the size of the hammer, it's the nail you're throwing it at!
Studies do indicate that there is a link between yellow 5 and a decrease in sperm count. Yellow 5 has been found to have carcinogenic chemicals. This is the last one. I can't pronounce it either. And if you can't even pronounce these ingredients, why would you even want to put these into your body? This one, how in the fuck do you pronounce that? You don't even know what that says. This is a genetic. Of course, now we'll go to genetics. It's only going to affect you because your genes are bad. There's no way that this stuff can be introduced into the environment. You're just born like that. Phenylalanine, I guess that's how it is. It's the same as aspartame. It's another artificial sweetener. So that's 4 artificial sweeteners. And they trick you into thinking that you're being healthy because, oh yeah, well I cut the high fructose corn syrup out. But then they bombard you with all these carcinogens and all these artificial sweeteners.
Give me some sugar, baby.
And I'm not even getting into it. It doesn't, because by now you already know. ADHD and ADD, emotional and behavioral disorders can be triggered. Oh, this is a big part right here, though. In 1976, the encyclopedia states cancer cannot live without phenylalanine. So if cancer cannot live without this stuff, then they're going to be pumping this shit into everything. So I hope that you all like this little report. And really, it's not a whole lot. I know that everybody, when they look down at the ingredients list and they think, man, what is all this shit? And you know that it's not healthy. It's not going to be good for you. I'm sure that everybody at one point or quite often says, well, I'm just going to go down the list and look up every single ingredient and see exactly what they do. Well, so I just did that for you. So just take better care of yourself. Things are really starting to change. In the long run, it's all going to be for the better. But you know that old saying about how things are going to get worse before they get better. And that's another reason why we have to start communicating. We have to network. We have to work through any kind of issues that we're having. If somebody is having a hard time getting through it, don't call them names and isolate them or piss them off and make them defensive. So if you like this video, check out some of my other ones. But share this video right here with the children. Today's children are really going to have a hard time. The ones that are aware. The ones that don't know, they're just going to coast through life if they make it that long. And they're going to be so pumped up on medications, they keep them confused. And we're living in a police state right now. Everything that comes across our TV is complete bullshit. And they don't know nature anymore. I try to break up the monotony a little bit. Everything now is the coronavirus, Kobe Bryant. The whole movement is being directed. And I'm not saying that stuff is not important. You need a little variety. I try to make it more enjoyable to watch. For some people, on half an hour is kind of a long time to spend on this. So I try to add some comedic relief. But this is a very serious topic. Put the Toyota down. Leave me a comment. Give me a thumbs up. Watch the next one when it comes out. Peace, I'm out.